See, the caching allows you to efficiently reuse previously retrieved or computed data. Exactly. See, it is data stored in memory for faster access and data which is read frequently but modified infrequently. Hey guys, welcome to the Stuff Developer Should Know podcast. Hey guys, welcome to a new episode. And in this episode, I'm going to share about the concept of caching. Let's see what all things I'm going to cover. I'm going to start with the basic concept of caching. What is caching? Then we'll see what is the need for caching, why we should go for caching. Later, what are the consideration or best practices while working with caching part, and finally the use cases. So let's begin. Let's start with the basic concept of caching. What is caching? See, according to Cambridge Dictionary, the cache definition is an area or type of computer memory in which information that is often in use can be stored temporarily and got to spatially quickly. Alright? See, a cache is data storage layer. If we look at architectural design part, so cache is nothing but a data storage layer which stores a subset of frequently required data. Yeah, that is the frequently required data. So that the future requests for that data are served up faster than the possibility but accessing the data's primary storage location, you can say. Okay. See, the caching allows you to efficiently reuse previously retrieved or computed data. Exactly. See, it is data stored in memory for faster access and data which is read frequently but modified infrequently. See, this layer is kept with application and help reducing need to access the underlying slower storage layer. Okay, this is the basic concept you can say for the caching. So next, let's understand what is the need for caching. See, system speed matters a lot. Website which is slow in response or having performance issues loses its users or customers. The key point here is improvement of performance and scalability of a system, and caching plays a crucial role here. And the cache data which we mostly require and is the one which, as I said, the one which we need frequently and most of the time considered which is expensive to query from backend system, and obviously result doesn't change every time. So considering this point, consider at application level the user information, images, past data or reports which would be static most of the time. See, here expensive means more of the IO operation, resources consumption, DB queries load, network responses, etc. When we say want to get some data that is expensive to fetch, you cache it so that the next time you want to look up that same data, it's much less expensive. Okay. See, after the need for cache is understood, you can follow the consideration or best practices for it. So let's see the next point. What are the considerations for design of best practices for caching? Okay. The first point here comes is determine how to cache data effectively. See, first determine the most appropriate data to cache. The application needs to fetch the data only once from the data store, and that subsequent operation on that data can be done by using the cache that you need to manage programmatically. And one more point, guys, ensure that data is available when fetched. When it is at high rate, or how it would be available when fetches fail. That we need to manage the things. Okay. Next, after you determine, check for the cache highly dynamic data. Okay, this means it can impose an overhead on the system when you store rapidly changing information in a persistent data store. Okay, so when you need to, this would overload your resources, your I operations. And yeah, while caching, consider non-critical data set to play with the cache. Next point is manage data expiration in cache. The data in the original data store might change after it was cached, causing the cache data to become stale. So manage that data at cache with TTL, time to live, we could say. This can be applied to expire the data according to requirement or update if required. Eviction policies are helpful to manage these things. I would give you an example. Say if say you are updating some product catalog once in a day and you have cached that data. So one should update that data accordingly in a cache. Okay. Next point is invalidate data in a client-side cache. See, this is applicable for web applications or mobile applications to manage data according on a client side. Like on the server side, you have managed some or changed some data which is cached on client. So programmatically, we also have to take control on how it would be managed or should be in sync with each other. Fine. So caching can, these are the points you can consider or best practices for caching. See, caching can be implemented by a variety of options available. There are different technologies and tools available. If your application is on cloud, say on AWS, you can go for Elastic Cache, which is the service provided by Amazon Web Services, or Azure Cache by Azure. Or if you want to build your own application, independent application, you don't want to go for services, cloud services, you can go with the Redis, Memcache, like in-memory database option available. See, even AWS Azure use these Redis and Memcache for their own services, right? So moving forward, let's look at the different use cases where you can consider caching, like the database caching. See, a database cache layer can be applied in front of any type of database, including the relational and NoSQL type of database. The cache acts as a adjacent data access layer to your database that your application can utilize in order to improve the performance for every fetch of required data. Okay. Next use case, you can say the session management, the most frequently used use case. See, when user logs into the website or application authorized tool application, the HTTP session is started. See, the HTTP session contains the user data exchange between user and your application, such as the login information or your application related product related data or previously visited points or pages, so on. So you can go with the caching part for managing this session. Okay. Next, you can consider CDN, the content delivery network. CDN is nothing but deliver a cached copy of static web content such as videos, web pages, HTML, your JavaScript, images, and so these are the static part. Most of the images and HTML would be the static in your case, right? So to reduce the response time, the network latency, the CDN utilize the nearest edge location to the customer or originating request location in order to reduce the response time. See, this is not CDN is mostly for the files, the static files. And caching, yes, the caching can be more than the data which we have been talking about. So this is related to the static resources. Okay, then you can later go for web caching. Can be employed both on the server side and client side also. We had word like how you can cache your data on client, which later on we can manage it this thing in between, say once in a day or once in a week, according to the requirement or business logic. Next, the domain name or DNS caching. See, when you type an address in a browser, every domain request made on internet queries the DNS cache server. See, and that happens in order to resolve the IP address associated with that domain. So that can be at ISP level or at more different hierarchy level. Okay, this is also the use case. One more we can say the API, application programming interfaces. See, APIs are like by caching your API response, you eliminate the load on your infrastructure, including your application servers also and databases. How like you also gain from the faster responses every time. So deliver more responsive API. Can consider API whose response won't change for a specific period of time. Say you are fetching, say country data or say cities, product information catalog. You think like the data would change on a batch of say 1 week or 15 days, one or once in a day. So for every API information required from API, you're not gonna hit the backend system or middleware to fetch the data. You can cache the API's response. All right. Now next look at the benefits of caching. You have understood the use cases you can consider for caching. Now let's understand what are the benefits you're gonna have after you implement the caching. See, the basic is it improves the application performance. Okay, the main you need a better performance, scalable application. All right, so caching plays the crucial role here. Another that reduces the database cost. You don't need to hit database queries, the highly costly queries. It reduces the load on the backend system, eliminate the database hotspots, and also it increases your read throughput IOPs and many more advantages. Okay. Okay, so these are the few use cases when you consider for caching of application. There are plenty of more used by different business application because it's of advantages as I said. Okay, so that's it about today's episode, guys. Hope you liked it. See you on next episode with some new and interesting stuff. Please do share with people with developers community. Help people grow. Till then, happy learning. Take care.